Hello, my name's Marcia Gorel, and I'm the agriculture reporter for the Marshall Democrat News. And this is the first edition of Crop Concerns for Video. I'm here with our University of Missouri Extension agronomist, Wayne Crook. And Wayne writes an article for us each week in the Tuesday edition of the Democrat News. And it's also featured on our agricultural webpage each Tuesday and throughout the week. This video is sponsored by Central Missouri Agri-Service of Marshall, Malta Bend, Slater, and Blackburn. And it's going to give us an additional opportunity, to talk to Wayne a little bit about areas of concern in the area for farmers and landowners. Wayne, thank you very much for being here.
Good to be here.
All year, area corn and soybean fields have looked really good. But lately, probably the last 2 weeks, we've had really dry weather and warm weather. In fact, heat advisories almost every day. How do you think this will affect area crops?
It's like a lot of other problems we have with the crops. It all depends what happens from now on. But the heat is becoming a real detriment. Not only does it directly affect the physiology of the plant and the photosynthesis capability, but it also affects the plant's ability to take up water. And as the stress gets higher with the growing degree days and the plant is able to take up less water, we've got the potential of seeing more stress on the plant and some potential yield loss. And the longer it lasts, the more the yield loss could be.
Well, the temperatures have also stayed very high at night. Is this something that's going to affect the crops even more?
Yeah, the high night temperatures contribute to part of the high day temperatures also. But since the plant is still a living organism, even at night it respires, and if it respires, it has to use energy. And the energy it uses at night cannot be used for making grain during the day. So the warmer it is at night, the more sugar the plant's going to use up just to maintain its health, to take water, and to try and maintain manage any stress it's got. So the higher the night temperature, you're going to have some loss of yield associated with that too.
Okay. Well, some have said that the high humidity actually is good for the crop. And we've had very high humidity, as you know. Is that true, or?
The high humidity will cut down on the water loss, so the plant will not have as much water. It will not need as much water to produce a crop. But the problem is more with air. Even if you have 50% relative humidity and you have a lot of wind, you're still going to get the evaporation of the moisture from the plant, and that's still going to increase the moisture need of the plant. The other problem is if the humidity stays high, you have a greater potential for disease development on the crop.
Okay. Well, what are the signs farmers can look for that indicate that they're being hurt by the high humidity and the high heat?
Corn is one of the easiest because people are used to the leaves rolling on the corn plant. You can see them kind of curl up when it gets under severe stress. But also before that happens, the plants will tend to have a silvery sheen on them, and you can see that driving down and just looking at it. The curling is one of the worst things though. Soybeans, you see the leaves droop on soybeans and they'll kind of turn over in the field to get a gray appearance, and that's before you see a lot of wilting. The other thing on corn, they've done some estimates out of Iowa State showing that if you get leaf curling at strategic time in the plant's development, you can start losing yield really fast. During pollination, before pollination, if the leaves rolled, they estimate after 4 days, you'll be getting a 1% yield loss for each 12 hours the leaves are rolled. During pollination, that increases to 1% yield loss every 4 hours because the pollination just isn't occurring to make the seed in the first place.
Well, I guess that leads me into my next question, which I'm sure you're being asked a lot. So what will this do to yield? Or what do you think it might do to yield? Is it affecting it?
This all gets back to it depends. How long is it going to stay dry? How hot's it going to be for the next 2 weeks? If you can answer that, I can give you an answer. That's what it amounts to. It's just that the longer it stays this way, the more yield loss we can have. The other problem is, even after all the stress is gone, what is the ability of these plants to recover? Corn, under stress, will abort seeds. Those will not come back. Corn will also make smaller seeds. The only potential to recover any yield on corn after the stress is gone is to make bigger seeds. Soybeans flower over a longer period of time. They got a better chance to recover. They can make bigger seeds and they can actually set more flower again and put some more pods on. So once yield is lost in corn, it's hard to recover what you lost. Beans have a little more potential to recover any stress loss disease, but still limited.
Right. Well, I remember a few years ago when we had a really cool spell around the state fair in the middle of August. And was that a time when you're talking about making bigger seeds? If that were to happen now, would that save our crop a little bit or make it a little bit better than potentially it looks like now?
Well, there's two ways to look at that. If the weather turns cooler, we get some rain, then the soybean plant has the potential to make bigger seeds in the pods. Some years when that's happened, we've got enough rain that each pod, size of the pod was determined, and when the seeds started filling, they started cracking the pods open and the seeds sprouted in the pods. So there's a happy medium in there. You don't want everything to go perfect all of a sudden.
What about in the corn plant that way, if it were to turn off cool and wet?
About all you can do is get a little higher test weight in the seed, and that's about it. The seed will not come back. They won't regenerate. What's gone is gone forever.
Well, some areas actually had about 3/10 of rain in the last week or so, but that's about it for 2 weeks. How long does that 3/10 of rain last?
Right now, demand by the plants is 1/4 to 3/10 of an inch per day. And if your soil was real dry, that moisture probably actually didn't get to the plants. It just cooled the plants off for a little while, and that was it.
Okay. We know that river bottom farmers are struggling with the opposite problem, too much water, and especially in the form of flooding and seep water, especially in those areas close to the levee. With the river expected to be up at least through August, what is your guesstimate, I guess I should say, about the crops and how they'll do down in the bottoms?
Well, whatever has had seep water on it or flood water or whatever, it's gone. There'll be nothing there. Some of the little islands they've got out in the middle of the field where the crop is still there, those portions should produce at least a normal yield. But even though they're in the middle of a lake, essentially, they still can run short of water and still be stressed out. So they're very limited. It's not looking good for them either.
Okay. Well, thank you, Wayne. Our Crop Concerns for Video is going to be a bi-weekly segment here on the Marshall Democrat News webpage. And we would really like viewers to write in or call me with ideas that they have for things they'd like Wayne to talk about, or questions that you might have relating to your crops. If you want to call me, you can call me at 886-2233, or you can email me at mgorel@marshallnews.com. Thank you again, and thank you to Central Missouri Agri-Service for sponsoring this segment.
You're welcome.